Hello and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, sends a message on the eve of the celebration of the National Mujahid Day, commemorating the double anniversary of the North Constantine Offensive and the Sumam Congress. We will also talk about the most important recruiting operation in the history of the Algerian university. More than 10,000 budget items, including 8,000 assistant professors in different universities, as well as 1,409 university hospital assistant professors and 693 teachers researchers. Marseille-Algiers, a trip on board of the Badji Mukhtar 3. Amal Bouaqba was there to report us how the custom procedures were simplified. The Jewelry Festival in Athens attracts tourists and also contributes to the economic development of the entire region. Welcome back. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, has sent a message on the eve of the celebration of the National Mujahid Day, commemorating the double anniversary of the North Constantine Offensive and the Sumam Congress, 20th of August 1955 and 1956. My fellow citizens, there are events that testify to the immense sacrifices made during the glorious war of national liberation, events that constitute an opportunity for us to remember the greatness of Algeria and the determination of its free people who wrote in letters of blood one of the greatest epics contemporary history by triumphing over the colonial forces. As we commemorate today the 68th anniversary of the North Constantine Offensive and the 67th anniversary of the Sumam Congress, we are proud to belong to a homeland strengthened by the sacrifices of its Shuhada, a country that recovered its freedom at the cost of sacred blood. We live today in a sovereign Algeria, strong in its constitutional institutions, in the unity of its people, and the conscience and ambitions of its youth. The faith in victory that inspired the symbol Shahid Zirud Youssef and his fellow soldiers, leading them in the North Constantine Offensive on the 20th of August 1955, is the same faith that inspired the leaders of the revolution to hold the Sumam Congress in the midst of the armed struggle in order to lay the political and military organizational foundations of the revolution. A faith from which we draw at a time when all of us are working towards building the new Algeria, confidence in the nation's capacity to achieve sustainable development. These are assets that contribute to the strengthening of social achievements and the preservation of the dignity of the citizen, and to confirm Algeria's strong presence and influence at both regional and international levels. We remain convinced and inspired to achieve further progress in our country so that it can continue to fulfill its leading role in the region and in the world, a role determined by the Algerian people's attachment to the legacy of the valiant Shuhada. On this occasion, we pay tribute to their memory and send our distinguished greetings and all our esteem and consideration to their Mujahideen brothers, praying Allah to grant them long life, health and well-being. Long live Algeria, glory to our valiant martyrs. May the peace, mercy and blessings of Allah be upon you. On the eve of the commemoration of this historic and important date for our country, we invite you to follow this review that takes us back to the glorious history of the National Revolution. More details with Daniel Bahri.
Algeria celebrates the National Mujahid Day, which coincides with the double anniversary of the attack in North Constantine and the Sumam Congress on August 20, 1955-1956, which are milestones in the history of our country that no one can forget, because it contributed greatly to the independence of the country and because it also testifies to the fact that a generation of patriots decided to take charge of their destiny, thus showing the values of freedom and dignity. And these two events contributed also to internationalization of the Algerian cause, the organization and structuring of the army, and the political struggle to lead the attack of North Constantine on August 20, 1955. It also made it possible to hear the voice of the Algerian people refusing to submit to the French colonizer, which led to the inclusion of the Algerian issue in September 1955 on the agenda of the United Nations General Assembly as a matter of decolonization and not an internal matter, as colonial France said. 10 months after the outbreak of the revolution, Zeroud Youssef, the head of the second region, North Constantine, and his deputy Lakhtar Bentobel decided to carry out a major attack against colonial targets in this region, which mainly includes Constantine, Gelmans, Kikda. The aim was to end colonialism on several regions, especially those that have been surrounded by the colonial army since the outbreak of the National Liberation War, where the inhabitants were victims of bloody campaign of repression that resulted in the deaths of 12,000 defenseless Algerian civilians. The revolution took a real momentum, which will be confirmed at Somam Congress with its structure and organization. The Congress led to historic decisions in the replacement of the 5 zones in force since November 1, 1954, by 6 provinces, namely Oras, Nememsha, North Constantine, Kabylie region, Algiers, Orani region, and the South. Other emblematic decisions of the Somam Congress is the unification of the ALN on national scale in its structure, its ranks, and its organization in the image of a regular army. The Congress also made it possible to structure the national revolution militarily and politically by giving the priority to politics over military and by granting priority to the interior over the exterior.
A press release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the national community abroad at a time when the military intervention in Niger is taking shape. Algeria deeply regrets that course to violence has taken precedence over the path to a negotiated political solution, peacefully restoring constitutional and democratic order in this brotherly country. Algeria remains in fact convinced that this negotiated political solution is still possible, and all the paths that can lead to it have not been taken. The history of our region teaches abundantly that the military interventions have brought more problems than solutions, and that they have been additional factors of confrontation and heartbreak rather than sources of stability and security. Before the irreparable is committed and before the region is caught in the spiral of violence, Algeria calls on all the parties to exercise restraint, wisdom and reason to give priority to the negotiated political option of the current constitutional crisis, thus sparing Niger and the whole region from a heavy future with threats and perils, in particular a renewed aggressiveness of terrorism and other forms of crime. Still in Niger, and in the framework of the diplomacy efforts to find peaceful solution to the Niger crisis, an ECOWAS delegation arrived on Saturday to the capital of Niger to meet with the military council. In order to eradicate unemployment among holders of master's and doctoral degrees, after the propositions of the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research approved during the May 14, 2023 government meeting. The ministry recruited nearly 8,000 assistant professors Class B in different universities, as well as 1,409 university hospital assistant professors and 693 teachers researchers Class B in the research centers for more than 10,000 budget items. This operation is the most important in the history of the Algerian university, and it reflects the great interest and the effort of the government towards this category, said the ministry's statement. Our reporter Amal Bouakba spent 3 days on Beji Mokhtar 3 car ferry, a trip during which she witnessed all the facilitations provided for the passengers. Sabrin Taferganit with more details.
From now on, all travel formalities are done at the level of the car ferry itself, a way to have a better passenger flow management once arrived in the country.
الخدمه نتاعنا هنايا راك تشوف مع السيفال هذه نتاع الصيف هذه راك مع لي زيميغري.
Our job is to help and provide assistance for our visitors, mainly for our national community settled abroad.
كاين اللي يجونا من النور، كاين اللي يجونا من بعد شويه من الالمان، لازمنا نسعفوهم. هما يسعفونا وحنا نسعفوهم.
We have on board the national police and customs and even insurance services to facilitate the paperwork and formalities.
السلام عليكم.
The passengers and once on board of this Beji Mokhtar 3 ship came across border crossing formalities to obtain the necessary papers as quick as possible.
حمدوش أحمد.
Voilà, donc هكذايا. Dans une heure إن شاء الله تعاودوا لي باش تركبي الباسبور تاعك والتيبيدي تاعك واجد إن شاء الله.
وي ميرسي عليك مسيو، ميرسي عليك مسيو. الحمد لله خدموا غاية صافا رابيد مش كيما مداري. مليحة الحياة الدعوة.
I came from Italy and the procedures are fast and easy for us.
Marseille, prendo un bateau da Algérie. السلام عليكم.
L'avantage que j'ai découvert aujourd'hui, c'est passer à la douane ici.
What was new for me today is knowing that I don't have to go to the police or customs for paperwork. Everything is done on the ship. Special thanks to the government and my dear country.
C'est un gros avantage. La police aussi, nos passeports, tout est en règle. Donc quand j'arrive à Alger, Inch'Allah, je prends mon véhicule et je pars sur Annaba. Merci beaucoup au gouvernement, merci beaucoup à l'Algérie, c'est mon pays.
Following the authorities' instructions, we have mobilized all the means. The ship has a full capacity of 670 vehicles. All the facilitations are provided for the passengers to save time and make the formalities easier. Same thing for the police services who are providing the necessary help. Within 1 minute or even less, we have completed all the police formalities. It has always been a pleasure to visit our homeland. I'm from Oman and I'm proud to be Algerian. This Marseille-Algiers trip embodied all the measures taken for the benefit of our community settled abroad, who are very enthusiastic to visit their homeland by each visit.
The 70th edition of the Jewelry Festival in Etienne doesn't only attract tourists, it also has an economic impact on the whole region. We met the artisans who shared with us their struggle and their passion. Laetitia Sadqawi with more details.
We are in the village of Etienne during the Festival of Jewelry, a consistent legacy from generation to generation that represents the main source of income for more than 80% of the families. This 17th edition of the Jewelry Festival is witnessing a strong participation. Visitors flock from all over the country to discover the beauty of jewelry made by local artisans whose know-how is passed down from generation to generation. A locomotive of local economy, Athene jewelry continues to attract crowds and to provide a source of income for many families.
Indeed, the jewelry industry is in decline. One of the reasons is silver material that is imported and is expensive. However, we need to remain optimistic.
Every year, we aim to organize an event in the hope to introduce tourists to local products. In order to boost tourism in the region, local authorities have deployed the necessary efforts and accelerated the tourism sector development in the province of Tizi Ouzou. There are roads connecting different regions in the province, both touristic and specialized in handicrafts such as bniini. These roads are available on the digital platform by our ministerial department in order to promote the region on all the national territory. I work with tourism agencies in Algiers, Oran, and Constantine. I spread the information, and there was positive feedback. We have already received groups and are expecting more. So far, we can say we had around 60 tourists. It is very beneficial for the region. During the festival, we met with Samia, who does not come from a family of artisans. However, she began her journey in this industry despite her studies being in architecture. This trade requires passion and patience. We cannot preserve this trade without love to overcome the challenges, namely storage and the expensive raw material. All of these challenges do not hold back these artisans from preserving this know-how that represents a symbol of the entire region.
And with this report made by Naima Hawish, we come to the end of our edition. Thanks to the entire reporters and the technical team. Dear viewers, thank you for being with us. See you soon.